Ladies and gents, welcome to another edition of the Morning After Extra Dose. I'm your host, Nick Hamilton, and we're going to talk a little bit today about Tiger Woods' unfortunate situation that transpired with his DUI. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about David Stern, who pulled the ultimate jerk move and throwing somebody under the bus. I kind of laughed at it, but then at the same time, I'm like, man, that's kind of a sucker move right now at this point in time. So I'll get into that and more later on. But first things first, when you look at Tiger Woods and you look at what happened to Tiger Woods, all that he's accomplished, everything that he's gone through, the peaks and valleys. I mean, this is one of the greatest golfers we've ever seen, play the game of golf. The way he orchestrated his game. I mean, we've had some greats before him. Obviously, you look at Arnold Palmer, you look at Lee Trevino, you look at Jack Nicklaus, Chichi Rodriguez. There are a lot of guys before him, but there was never a Tiger Woods. And I looked at that mugshot this morning because he was arrested. If you haven't heard, he was arrested for DUI early this morning somewhere in Florida, which is really, really unfortunate because when you look at what he's gone through, and I look at that mugshot and I said, he is really, really just out of it. Like, he's just depressed. He looks lost, discombobulated, if you will. When you look at what he brought to the game, I mean, this was a guy who people did not want to enter the world of golf. One, because he was just that good, and two, because of the complexion of his skin. Let's be clear about that. The other thing was Tiger, if you follow Tiger in his history, he always wanted to be like his dad. When he was with Earl Woods and he was an amateur at that time, Tiger really didn't get into a whole lot of trouble. And once Earl Woods passed away, that's when you saw the difference in Tiger Woods. It was slow, but it was different. And when you look at what Tiger Woods brought to the table, it was something dynamic, it was something new, it was something fresh, I might say, to the game of golf. When you look at Tiger Woods, and obviously he was exposed to be, not the guy that he projected out there. He was a phony. It came across like he was a phony. It came across like he wasn't real. He wasn't keeping it a buck, as we say, or 100. It looked as though he was trying to create a caricature instead of being himself. And I'm not even sure if he knew who he was as a person. I think he was so caught up in Tiger Woods, the golf player, versus being Tiger Woods, the person, and letting that sell along with his game. And I think he tried so hard, and I think he never truly got over his father's death. And I mean, not to say that you should ever get over your parents' death, because that's your parents. You're always going to have that someplace in your life. But when he just went completely left, having the girls come, having, 10 to 20 women on the side. I mean, and having guys trying to, spit game for him, and he didn't know how to handle that. I don't believe he learned how to handle that. I mean, think about it. This is a guy who was at Stanford University, one of the most prestigious universities in our country, playing golf, a game that he's been playing since 3 years old, and getting rejected more times than the law allowed by women. And then all of a sudden, you turn pro, and you got Nike, you have Buick, you have all these major corporations wanting to be a sponsor and giving you all this money on the road to being a successful billionaire. And all these women are flocking at you, and you don't know how to come at it because it was all bad just a week ago because you were getting rejected, and all of a sudden the women love you because of what you represent and what you are bringing to the table, which is money. And he didn't know how to handle that. Tiger had no game, but only game he had was on the golf course. So he had guys who weaseled their way in, who weren't his real friends, who weren't his real partners. I mean, I don't even know if Tiger really even had real friends around him. And that's another sad part. And then you look at what Tiger had accomplished on the green. I mean, he won. The last time he won a major was 2008. The last time he won a PGA Tour was 2013. And then he had the unfortunate incident with his wife. Somebody breaking into his car, to his house. I mean, so when you look at what Tiger had to go through and what he put himself through, and then he was exposed for somebody that he wasn't, it comes across incredibly fake, and people don't like fakeness. They act like they do, but in all actuality, they really don't. And again, Tiger did not know how to balance the two, and he was lost without his dad. He had his dad around the whole time, and all of a sudden he lost his dad. It reminded me of what Mike Tyson did with Costamato. When Costamato was there, Mike was on an even kill. The moment Costamato passed away, you saw the difference in Mike Tyson. You saw the difference in the ring. You saw the difference outside of the ring. And when the wrong people got their claws into him, he was on a downward spiral, unfortunately. And Mike is a great guy. I had the opportunity of meeting Mike Tyson one time. He's a solid guy. I have ultimate respect for Mike Tyson. I have a lot of respect for Tiger Woods as far as his game on the golf course, because he changed the game. Let's be clear. They didn't want Tiger Woods to accomplish a lot of things that he wanted him to accomplish, simply because when you change the golf course for one dude, that tells me that the rest of the competition that they have beside him, man, he's blowing them away. So they got to have the other competition keep up. And so when you look at all the trials and tribulations that Tiger experienced, taking responsibility, he has to take responsibility for what he's done, but there's some form of ignorance of not knowing, because you're in a different world. You're in a different scheme of things. And that's what that is something that has to be brought to the table and has to be understood. Do I think Tiger Woods is going to win another major? I doubt it. It's sad because he had the imagery that he was this wholesome, together, family-oriented guy, and he really wasn't. And he should have just been him. And if he can ever be him, if he can ever learn how to be the man that he wants to be, not what everybody else wants him to be, and don't give a damn about what nobody else says, don't care about what the critics have to say necessarily, focus on you, focus on your game, get your mind right, get yourself together, maybe you got to do some soul searching, Tiger. Maybe you have to get yourself acclimated to where you want to be in life for you, not for anybody else. Not for us in the media, not for your so-called friends or latchers on or leeches or anybody else. You have to do what's best for your kids, because Tiger is a father of two. So he has to do what's best for his kids. I really hope he gets some help. I really hope he gets his life together. Even if we never see him on a golf course again, I personally want Tiger Woods to be well and be a man and be a healthy man, to be able to raise his kids in the right direction and teach his kids and have his kids learn from the mistakes and pitfalls that he went through. That's the ultimate thing. And if you're worried about, oh man, Tiger's gonna be off the golf course now, that's it, man, we're never gonna see Tiger on if that's all you're concerned about, him being on a golf course, then you need to get yourself checked as a human being. Because this is another human being. Again, I'm not absorbing any responsibility away from what he's done or the imagery that he's portrayed himself to so-called be and get busted for it. But he's still a human being at the end of the day. And I think we all need to take a look and take a step back and realize that not only he's one of the greatest golfers and could have been the GOAT of golf over Arnold Palmer, over Jack Nicklaus, he's still a human being at the end of the day. And I hope, and I don't believe this is the first time he's gotten drunk. He's gotten faded. This may be the first time he's gotten busted for getting behind the wheel. And I don't understand why you would get behind the wheel if you faded or if you drunk. You got Uber, you have Lyft. I mean, you gotta have a personal car service. You're Tiger Woods, for God's sakes. You got more money than you can count, probably. So I hope he gets himself together. I really hope he does what he needs to do and rehabs himself and gets himself right, and really shed the demons that have been plaguing him for a long time. All right, next up, let's talk a little bit about former NBA Commissioner David Stern and his comments as it pertains to the Chris Paul Lakers trade debacle. Now, we all know back in 2008, and I know this may be a soft spot for some of you Laker fans out there, but real is real. Okay, in 2008, if you recall, there was a trade that would go down between the Pelicans, the New Orleans Hornets at the time, and the Los Angeles Lakers, along with probably another team. I don't remember exactly, so forgive me. But anyway, Chris Paul was going to be sent from New Orleans to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, also Kobe Bryant was a part of that team. Pau Gasol was a part of that team. Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum. I believe Trevor Ariza. I'm not really sure. I have to go back and look. But anyway, they had a squad. And so one of those gentlemen would have to leave. More than likely, it would have been Lamar Odom that would have had to leave in that trade if the Chris Paul trade went through. Now, at one time, the trade did go through, but 3 or 4 hours later, it was nixed, meaning kaput, because David Stern decided that was not, quote, a fair trade. Now, it took him 4 to 5 hours to realize, geez, that's not a fair trade. And the reason why it wasn't a fair trade, because some of the smaller market teams were complaining, the owners, rather, were complaining about, hey, man, this makes the Lakers an even bigger juggernaut than what they already are. So you had some people that were acting real salty. You know, their sodium levels were kind of high, and they were acting real salty. And so they started to cry and complain to the commissioner. So guess what? Commissioner got backed into a corner and decided, you know what? Chris Paul is not going to be a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. So take those jerseys off of production, because they're not going to happen. So, I think a couple of days ago, Commissioner Stern decided to say, you know what? It wasn't me. It was Mitch Kupchak, who was then the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Jimmy Buss, who was actually running the organization in his father's absence. So guess what? Now he's throwing Mitch Kupchak, who could not respond because he's no longer part of the Lakers organization. And guess what? He can't even fight back. He can't verbally come back and say anything because he doesn't have a platform to stand on. So to me, it was the ultimate jerk move that David Stern pulled, and I kind of laughed at it. But then when I sat and thought about it, I thought it was kind of a sucker move, because at this point, it's been what, 8 years, 9 years since the trade happened? Like, why are we still even talking about this? I mean, is David Stern trying to cleanse himself? I don't know. But to me, that was not a classy move by the former commish. It was a real sucker move as far as I'm concerned. And to me, what the hell does it matter? Chris Paul eventually went to the Los Angeles Clippers. And guess what? That's what he did. He went to the Clippers, he joined Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and here we are today in 2017 wondering if Chris Paul is still going to be a part of the Clippers or not. But no one really cares if Chris Paul was going to go to the Lakers or not, because David Stern said, well, you know, Mitch Kupchak pulled the trigger, he got jumpy, and we could have still made the deal work. No, you weren't trying to make the deal work because you got too much flack from owners like Dan Gilbert. You got too much flack from guys like Mark Cuban, and you probably got some flack from Michael Jordan himself, who's also an owner. So that's what happened. That's what went down. And all you gotta do is think, people. Think about it. Just think from a logical standpoint. How that trade could have went down. You can't blame Mitch Kupchak for that. You're the commissioner. Even if Mitch Kupchak wanted to get the deal done, he still has to go through you. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the league running the New Orleans Hornets at the time? So of course you're not going to give up a hot commodity like Chris Paul, who's the ultimate floor general, to put him with a juggernaut like the Lakers, and would have given Kobe a 6th ring. Because I do believe in 08, they would have beat the Celtics in 08, and they would have beat the Celtics in 2010 with Chris Paul, and Kobe got to play finally with a real deal point guard. You don't think Kobe would have got 6 rings? You better stop smoking that stuff at breakfast time. That's all I can tell you. Because he would have gotten 6 rings. He would have tied Michael Jordan for having 6 rings. He would have been probably, 6 for 8 in the finals at that point? If my math is off, forgive me, but that's what it was. That's what he put. That's what it was. So, I mean, at this point, who gives a damn? Like, what's done is done. The Lakers are in the rebuilding process. I'm glad to see that they're back in the rebuilding process, because when the Lakers are better, when the Celtics are better, and Lord knows whenever this happens, when the Knicks get better, the league is better. The league is much better when those three organizations are better. Period, point blank. All right? So, I'm about to go get me some barbecue. I know it's early, but hey, it's Memorial Day. What can I say? Mom's hooked it up. So thank you so much for tuning in on this Memorial Day. Again, shout out to our soldiers. Shout out to our veterans who have put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms in this country. Thank you so much to you guys and you ladies and guys as well. And make sure you check out The Morning After on Dash Radio every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. And that is 11 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern on Dash Radio, Dash Talk channel. And also make sure you subscribe on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/The Morning After Show 1. Hit me up on Twitter at Nick Hamilton LA. You can also catch me on Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA. Until next week, stay sharp. I'm out.